Important news. First of all, yesterday we have celebrated Ganesh Chaturthi, and for the next 10 days we are celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi. In fact, in Maharashtra, Ganesh Chaturthi will be celebrated with much grandeur, celebration, and pomp. It is not a private affair in Maharashtra, it is a public affair, it's a mass affair in Maharashtra. In fact, Ganesh festivals in Maharashtra are co-terminus with our freedom struggle and freedom movement in Maharashtra. In the modern sense, it is Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak who made Ganesh festivals a public event where entire community will participate, youth will organize, nationalism speeches will be promoted, community dining will be promoted, even different varieties of laddus, everything will be promoted. Ganesh Chaturthi, Maharashtra's biggest festival, was transformed from a private ritual into a public celebration by the freedom fighter Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak during India's freedom struggle. His vision turned devotion into a unifying force against British rule and resulted in the festival's modern grandeur. Grand donations, towering idols of Lord Ganesha, dazzling mandaps, and countless varieties of modaks, that is laddus, and people dancing and swaying to the beats of Dol Tasha. That's how Ganesh Chaturthi is being celebrated in Maharashtra today. But the grandeur traces back even before Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak. In fact, I can tell you, it is Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj who made Ganesh festival as a festival of public affair, not of private affair. As you all know, Chhatrapati Shivaji, who was the founder of Maratha Empire, and his life, he ruled Maratha kingdom in between 1630 to 1680. He actually is strong Hindu devotee. He worshipped Lord Ganesha, and he made people to celebrate the festival in the as a public affair, and he wanted that spirit to fight against the Mughal forces also. So Ganesha, as we considered as the removal of obstacles, he stood for resilience and divine support for Maratha cause at that time. Resilience and divine support for Maratha cause. After Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, it was the prime ministers of Maratha Empire, that is Peshwas, who again encouraged the celebration of Ganesha festival as a public affair till 1818, Battle of Koregaon. Till 1889, Battle of Koregaon, in which the Peshwas got defeated. Ganesha was their family deity, that is Kuladevata for Peshwas, and they have celebrated this festival with grandeur in Pune, and there is a lot of financial patronage during that time. Even Dashavataras are being performed for the 10 days during their period, particularly Peshwa Bajirao I and Peshwa Madhavrao I. Particularly Peshwa Bajirao I and Peshwa Madhavrao I. And after that, if you see, after 1857 revolt, if you observe, Britishers issued a ban on various religious gatherings and processions with a suspicion. If more than 20-30 people gather someplace, Britishers used to give lot of orders and arrests also. Particularly in 1892, anti-public assembly legislation explicitly banned gatherings of more than 20 people. And if you observe, if more than 20-30 people stay in one place, celebrate something, Britishers used to consider them as seditious activities. In fact, I can tell you, by the 1890s, if you observe, rising communal tensions in India, exemplified by 1893 Hindu-Muslim riots in Bombay and Deccan, which claimed over 75 lives. Bal Gangadhar Tilak saw the Ganesh festival's potential as a unifying force against all these communal issues. In fact, I can tell you, he organized processions, public meetings during the festival season, and particularly if you observe, during 1893-1894, non-Brahmins started attending this, Brahmins started attending this. In 1894 procession in Nasik, even Muslims participated in Ganesha procession. So, Ganeshotsav in Maharashtra is a strong unifying force, and today, almost during Ganesh season, it's a business of 25,000 crores in Maharashtra, directly or indirectly. It is promoting economic activities, idol making, decorations, gatherings, everything. And particularly Mumbai's Lal Bagcha Raja, like our Kaitabad Ganesha. In Mumbai, Lal Bagcha Raja, the Ganesha procession and that Lal Bagcha Raja Mahotsav was started in 1934. From the last 91 years, it is going uninterruptedly, and almost millions of people gather every year to visit Mumbai's Lal Bagcha Raja. This is Tilak's vision to make Ganesh festival as a unifying force. In fact, now Ganesh festival have become a heartbeat of Maharashtra, and it is celebrated as the biggest festival with grandeur in Maharashtra. So connect whatever you read with history. Then you will understand the relevance of everything. We will celebrate festivals. Everyone will celebrate festival. But why that festival is so famous? Why it is very, very important? That's very crucial. A next important news that is coming up, Donald Trump's tariffs, additional tariffs of 25% additional tariff. They started implementing from yesterday, that is August 27th. Now, India is facing the heat of this 50% tariffs. A 50% tariff on India will impact trade worth almost $60 billion, and it is going to risk India-US ties. American President Donald Trump's 50% tariffs on Indian goods, which is expected to impact India's trade with America, that is the world's populous nation, India's trade with America. US first slapped 25% tariffs on India on July 30th, and a week later, it imposed additional tariffs on India. Now 50% tariffs. The Global Trade Research Initiative, GTRI, Global Trade Research Initiative, a New Delhi-based think tank told that Indian exports to the US could fall from $86 billion to $50 billion in Indian exports right now are $86 billion. It can fall even to $50 to $40 billion in a single year. Almost it is going to be half according to Global Trade Research Initiative prediction. GTRI said that the textiles, gems, jewelry, shrimp, carpets would be the worst affected industries, and it is now endangering thousands and lakhs of jobs in India. Thousands and lakhs of jobs in India. So certain industries like pharma industry, aluminum and steel products, certain industries, passenger vehicles got exempted, but still we are going to face that heat. Almost our exports will size down from $86 billion to $40 to $50 billion in 1 year. The other important and pathetic sad news, almost 40 people died at Vaishno Devi pilgrimage. As you all know, there is a severe floods, not only floods, but also landslides and cloudburst in Jammu region. And many pilgrimages were stuck, Vaishno Devi pilgrimages were stuck in Jammu region. And you all know that Vaishno Devi pilgrimage site is in Riyasi district in Jammu Kashmir, and most of the casualties occurred during this period, and Vaishno Devi Yatra was halted temporarily. Vaishno Devi Yatra was halted temporarily. It's the other most important news that is coming up. And the next important news, Israel airstrike on Gaza, where 20 people killed, including journalists. And now Israel wanted to completely occupy the Gaza, but there's no futuristic vision on ceasefire. And American President Donald Trump chaired a policy meet to hold discussions on the future of Gaza at the White House. And in fact, this is very difficult time for the Gaza. More than 60,000 people died, and most of them are innocents at Gaza. And the entire basic infrastructure in Gaza got completely destroyed. Entire basic infrastructure at Gaza got completely destroyed. And the other important news, there's a, even in the modern era, even after 78 years of our independence, and 79th year of our independence, women are facing tough times with respect to domestic violence and dowry harassment. Domestic violence and dowry harassment, they both are now taking away the lives of women. Recently, there's an episode that has happened at Noida. There's an episode that was happened at Noida, and a woman got ablaze. Let's see. And it seems that there's a news that is coming up from Donald Trump. Student visas are being made stricter. Student visas are being made stricter. And Donald Trump government believes that coming to America, going to America, settling down in America is not a right. It's a privilege. It's not a right. It's a privilege. And it's a pathetic news. So Donald Trump administration plans to limit foreign student visas. The news is coming up. Trump administration to completely overhaul student visa process. The proposed changes come after Trump administration revoked the visas of international students at various colleges in America. The Department of Homeland Security filed plans to submit a proposal to make the student visa rules more stricter. Student visa holders spent at least 4 years obtaining an undergraduate degree, but their activities are also under watch in America. Their activities are also under watch in America, and American government is very strict on this. So the student visas, that issue is coming up in America. This is a very important issue that is coming up. Governor versus government. Governor versus government. What is governor versus government? In fact, I can tell you, if Supreme Court can review the governor's recommendation on Article 356, imposition of Article 356, that is President's rule in a state, why can't Supreme Court review the governor sitting on the bills asked by the CJI? Asked by CJI to the government. If the Supreme Court can review the governor's recommendation on President's rule under Article 356, why don't Supreme Court can review the governor sitting on the bills under Article 200? But the government is saying Supreme Court cannot give a timeline for the governor and president to sign on the bills. Supreme Court should not give timeline of 3 months for the president or the governor to sign on the bills. This is the news that is trending up. Mr. Raju Ranjan have become the vice president of BRICS New Development Bank. Former member of Monetary Policy Committee, Dr. Raju Ranjan, has been appointed as the BRICS vice president and chief risk officer for the BRICS New Development Bank. The New Development Bank, which was established with the BRICS, has appointed Dr. Raju Ranjan, former member of Monetary Policy Committee of RBI, as its new vice president. Mr. Raju Ranjan is an experienced central banker with more than 35 years of experience. After starting his tenure at Reserve Bank in 1989, he also served as an executive director and member of Monetary Policy Committee. Mr. Raju Ranjan worked at the Central Bank of Oman as economic policy expert, and now he is going to serve as a vice president of BRICS New Development Bank. This news is trending. This is very important. This is very, very important, and the news is trending. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to leave to Japan today, and he is going to meet Shigeru Ishiba, Japanese Prime Minister, tomorrow. And bilateral meeting between India and Japan will take place on 29th of August. Then from Japan, he will go to China to attend Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit.